Rafinha and Barcelona no doubt will be sleeping peacefully tonight, but over at their rivals Real Madrid, I wonder how Xabi Alonso and his men will be sleeping, because it's been a tough week for Los Blancos. Back-to-back losses. They were humbled by Manchester City in the Champions League, and this is what Marca's newspaper says, mea culpa, referring to some of the players taking responsibility for the poor form that we are seeing Real Madrid in. Let's listen to what Xabi Alonso had to say after this tough week.
Yo llevo muchos años en el fútbol y no me sorprende nada de lo que pueda suceder, ¿no? Son cosas normales, son cosas que han sucedido, son cosas que seguramente van a volver a pasar en un futuro, o sea que hay que afrontarlas con la responsabilidad del cargo, con la responsabilidad de lo que representamos, y a partir de ahí trabajar para revertir la situación. Pero estamos todos los días juntos, estamos trabajando en los momentos buenos, en los no tan buenos. Sabemos que ahora, por las circunstancias, pues estamos pasando dificultades, pero creemos también que podemos crecer. Si pasamos estos momentos difíciles, revertimos un poco la dinámica. Igual dentro de unas semanas miramos hacia atrás y dijimos, uy, cómo lo pasamos, pero nos ha fortalecido, ¿no? Siempre he sentido que hemos tenido buena relación, buena conexión, que hemos peleado, bueno, peleamos siempre por un objetivo común, es que las cosas vayan lo mejor posible. Y el otro día, después cuando acabó el partido, no ganamos, pero el reproche, no había ningún reproche a los jugadores.
Well, Ale, I know we spoke about it a little bit with Luis and Gemma in the pre-show, just that tomorrow's game for Real Madrid against Alaves feels like a must-win for them, which I think, looking at the fixtures, we never would have highlighted this game, but the way things are going for Xabi Alonso and Real Madrid, is this how you see it? Does he have to win to at least stay on as manager?
He needs a win. They need a win of any kind against anybody. They just need a win, and he needs a win. Now, it's interesting in hearing Xabi Alonso, and all of the answers that he gave there, if you had put Luis in a press conference, if you had put me in a press conference, if we had put you in a press conference, we could have come up with similar answers about the current situation of Real Madrid. You know, you expect these things to happen at a club like Real Madrid, this sort of pressure, but we're going to be able to figure it out, and we're working, and we're trying to make it better, and it's my responsibility to get the team ready to play, and But between all of that, I think there was a message. There was a message to those that are in a decision-making position in saying, hey, we go through this tough time, and once we get through the tough time, we're going to be able to look back and see how strong this made us. But it's also a way of him saying, but you got to let me go through this tough time. Yeah. You got to allow us to grow through this. You got to allow us to work our way through this. And oh, mind you, we have injuries. I don't know who I'm going to play in the back line. We have absences. We have issues. We have problems. Let me get through this. This team will be stronger for it and will be in a better position. And the reality is, when you think about Real Madrid right now, they're still very much in every competition.
Yeah.
They are in a position in which they're going to advance in Champions League. Yes, they're 7 points currently behind Barcelona, but we also saw how LaLiga changed dramatically over the last 6 weeks and how it may change over the next 6 weeks. So if you're Real Madrid and you have made the decision that Xabi Alonso is your guy coming into the season, and that he was going to have the equity and he was going to have the power to change certain things, you got to let this play out. Now, you don't want things to get out of control. You don't want things to get out of hand, but you got to let this play out. Because if you go ahead and give the power back to the players that have been complaining about the play time, the position, this guy, that guy, my role, his role, you give the power back to the players, you're not getting it back. It doesn't matter who steps into that position later. Because you have actually made the decision that, yeah, Vini Jr., whining and complaining and getting his arms up in the air, actually ends up in a manager being fired. And that's the direct correlation that we're going to find here, and the direct sort of cause and effect. Vini puts his arms up, the team loses, now Xabi Alonso is out of a job. If you're Real Madrid, you got to see the bigger picture here, and you have to win against Alaves.
Have to win against Alaves, Luis, of course, that's what we said. But just, this is the first time we're having you on since that loss to Manchester City. And it's not just necessarily that Real Madrid lost at home, but it's how they lost as well. And then compounded by what Ale brought up, the fact that we hear of all these players, big name players like Vinny Jr., who are not necessarily understanding Xavi's tactics or methods of training. But as Ale says, they need patience. Real Madrid need to have patience with Xavi to get them through this. Do you think he will be afforded that patience?
We don't know because, again, in these kind of clubs, it's very difficult to know what is going to happen next week because suddenly they decided they need to change the direction and they can remove the manager and bring another one. Probably there has been talks between some people at the board of Real Madrid to see if they can find another manager. It will be easy or not. That's a different conversation. But definitely there is no magic pills. There is not a magic spell that you're going to make this Real Madrid play better. Last year they were not playing good. This year they are trying something different. That's why they brought Xavi, a manager with a little bit more structure, a manager that wants to bring an idea of playing, a style of football that can remain there at Real Madrid for long, not for just 3-4 months, and that takes time. That is not something that you arrive in 2 weeks you're going to be. This is a Real Madrid that didn't have a preseason. Let's don't forget, you use the preseason to build on something for the rest of the season, a structure, an idea, a message that you want to send to the players, and they had this Club World Cup. They were involved, so Xavi arrived and have to remove everything, waiting for players to arrive, and then players, injuries, results. Last year, they managed to get few results because in the last part of the season, Kylian Mbappe was on fire. This year, it was a little bit the same. But when you are not playing well, when the things are not going your side, you got short in many of occasions. We've seen it against Girona, against Elche, against Rayo Vallecano. So in the end, you have to give time if you want this team to grow on what Xabi Alonso wants to implement. So will that be the case? I think that from Real Madrid side, they understand that Xavi needs to have time. Now is not the moment to take the decision because there is a lot of players that they are injured. There is no time to work on the structure. We'll have to wait and see maybe January, February and see a different. He's waiting for a turning point. Why not? It could be the game against Alaves. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, but definitely they need those 3 points.
Well, despite Luis speaking so professionally about Real Madrid, I'm sure he's slightly enjoying the little bit of a rut that they're in because Barcelona, just to remind you, 7 points ahead of them in the table after their win.
There's the smirk. There's the smirk. There's the smile.
Come on, Luis.
Yeah.
Barcelona 7 points clear of Real Madrid in the La Liga standings after their win against Osasuna. Gemma Soler was their pitch side and she caught up with Eric García.
The first half, it looked like it was a little bit frustrating because you got like 80% possession, but it was like difficult to generate danger. It's what Hansi Flick asked you to do in the halftime.
Well, mostly to improve the pace, moving the ball to one side to the other one, attacking the spaces, letting the wingers go one against one, against the fullbacks, and of course, I think, the energy, I think it changed a bit.
Since that defeat in El Clásico, you managed to get 7 wins in a row. What do you think it changed in the team?
Well, first of all, we've got nearly the whole squad back, which is very important for us, We have a lot of players who can play, in the starting 11. The quality on the bench is also very high, so I think that's the big part of what we changed, of course, the way we played. It's been more or less the same, but, the energy it's been different.
And in a personal level, you are a starter wherever, in the midfield, as a fullback, in the defense. You are maybe enjoying a momentum in your career, you think?
Well, of course, I'm enjoying a really good moment here. Playing a lot of games. That's what every single player wants. But I know I've gonna keep working because, as I said, we have a lot of talented players. The ones are playing and the ones are waiting on the bench, so it's good for the team.
And doing this with the mask, with the broken nose, are you going to still play with the mask in Villarreal? How is it going? And it looks like you are very comfortable with the mask.
Yeah, the beginning was a bit tough, but now it's getting better. And yeah, I still have a couple of or 3 weeks more with the mask.
I don't hate the mask. The little Batman Robin look is in. It's in. I like it. Okay. All right, Luis Garcia, final thoughts on this one. Barca 7 points clear of Real Madrid, 7 wins in a row in La Liga.
Keep up the momentum. I think that we heard, and Ali mentioned, speed, running to the space, change the side to side. They improved a little bit in the second half, but it was all about getting the result. Keep momentum going. build up on the consistency at the back. Very important to try to make as many clean sheets as possible. That's how you grow on confidence, not suffering, not being vulnerable, and of course, to try to be a little bit more solid. So very good 3 points. 7 points is a very good gap waiting for Real Madrid tomorrow. But at least, again, is the confidence back on the players. Players are recovering. And I'm sure that the consistency is going to give this Barcelona even more hope to continue at the top of the table for many weeks.
Luis just mentioned momentum, and it's going to be important that you go into the break with that momentum. And in order to do that, you're going to have to go through 2 difficult games, away at Villarreal, away against Espanyol. And that, I think, is going to challenge Barcelona. It's going to tell us a whole lot about this team. And so the goal of Hansi Flick and the goal for Barcelona will be keep that momentum, keep winning games, keep finding rhythm, keep defending as well as you did today, even though there were some moments, but there are always going to be moments with Barcelona. That's just the way that this team is structured. But you get through those matches. By the way, that Villarreal game was the one that was supposed to be played in Miami, and not so much. It's going to be at Estadio La Cerámica. And so there are challenges ahead for Barcelona in the very near future that I think are going to set them for success if you're able to get through those challenges into the rest of the season. You set up coming into January after the break, having won those 2 games, and you feel a whole lot better about yourself.
Man, I had an outfit planned from that game in Miami.
And how did that work out for you?
It's still sitting in my closet.
Yes.
Well, he's not in Miami, but Luis Garcia, where are you? Because nobody does exotic trips quite like you, and we know you're not in Madrid.
No, I'm not in Madrid. I'm in Kuala Lumpur. Tomorrow, JDT is playing the final of the FA here in Malaysia, so wish me all the best.
What time,
sure.
what time is it over there?
4 o'clock in the morning, 10
Oh,
to 4.
that is our Luis Garcia. Professional, hard worker, and best dressed. You will not find anyone else quite like him. Luis, thank you so much for hanging with us and putting up with our silliness.
We hope he wins.
And we hope you win. Come on, Luis. Only winners here. Only winners here.
Thank you
Go
very
get
much.
some
Thank you.
sleep.